Hello, this is Andrew Jobling, the accidental author, with the fabulous Princess Justine Martin. Hello, Princess, who just spent a couple of weeks in a castle, haven't you?
I have, and you've demoted me because I'm known as the queen of resilience, and now you're calling me a princess.
Oh well, you could be a princess queen,
Thanks.
the queen of all princesses, or the
Yeah,
princess of all queens, whichever you
but
prefer.
yes, I have just spent a week in a castle.
You've done amazing. Hey, Justine, before we get into the conversation, you want a flash? Give us a flash.
Oh, that means I've got to step.
Ready, set, passion, power, purpose. Love it. Hello, Justine. How are you?
Hi, Andrew. I am surprisingly really good after the last week that I've had, having COVID, and I've just come out of lockdown again for the third time. I'm having this wretched thing, but geez, it was fun getting it.
It was fun getting it, wasn't it? So good to be chatting with you. I love having these conversations. You and I have chatted multiple times
We
on
have
multiple platforms, on podcasts and videocasts. And while we were sitting in our bathers in Bali, we chatted and
drunk in the pub
yes, drinking. What were we
in
drinking?
St Kilda.
Ginger
No, in
beer in
St
the pub.
Kilda. St Kilda recently at
So
the
we were
workshop.
just we were just listing off what you've done since July, and it's currently
Yeah.
now, as we're recording this, the 24th of November 2023. Well, probably 4 months ago it all started, didn't it? Because that was the retreat in Bali.
Mm.
And then since you've come back from the retreat in Bali, you spent a bit more time in Bali, and then you've published a book called um, Whispers of Resilience with
Yep.
all your MS peeps, and that's done incredibly well. You've won 5 awards, just five,
Just five.
only five. Um, you have been to Europe. You've been another retreat in Ireland. You've lived in a castle. You've met Fergie. What have I missed?
Well, it didn't all just happen since July. I felt a shift coming 12 months ago, and I said to my team, I went, hang on, we're in for a ride next year. There's going to be some big things. So it was a mindset thing 12 months ago in going, okay, what can I achieve next year? And I'm never one that sets New Year's resolutions. It's like ongoing for me. And then I made the decision to come to your retreat and said yes to that and went to that in July. And a couple of weeks after saying I was coming to your writing retreat, I made the decision that I was going to go to another one in Ireland. And it's just been a whirlwind.
It has.
Yours. Yeah, it's
So
been
obviously,
unbelievable.
so yeah, it's been amazing. But you just said something then that I think is the secret to all this. I reckon we could just end this conversation right now. You said you said yes
Hmm.
to the retreat in Bali. You said yes to a retreat in Ireland. You said yes. Isn't that interesting how simple that might sound, but how deeply profound that is? Because
Yeah,
how
look,
many
I
people
say
will get
yes to things.
confronted with something and say, "Oh, I don't know if I can because," or "Yeah, I'd like to, but," or all the rubbishy stuff we say to ourselves. And you just said yes. And interesting, when you make, and we'll talk about this, when you make that decision yes, all of a sudden the path opens up for it to become reality, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I always say yes and then work out how. And that's with everything. It could be me doing a painting, it could be me publishing a book, it can be, well, I now know how to do that quite
You
successfully.
do.
Um, and do it for other people now. But I say yes and then go, okay, now let's action it and work out how we're going to do it. Saying yes to Bali, it's like, okay, I've actioned that now. Yes. Okay, how am I going to pay for it? What do I need to do in order to achieve that, to pay for it? Or what do I need to do with my health in order to get there? What do I need to do? Do I need a passport? Do I need to book flights? And I break down each thing that I say yes to into all these smaller little goals that I need to achieve and tick off. And I do that with absolutely everything.
I
So
love it.
it's not a big
No.
hairy thing out there. It's like, okay, well, I need to make sure I've got a passport. I need to make sure that I'm underweight in my bags, which doesn't happen very often. I
Get
need
rid of about
to,
5 pairs of shoes.
yeah, I did go with 5. No, I might have went with
No,
3
5 less pairs of shoes. So,
or 5. Yes, that's
so
right.
10 instead of 15.
I know. The struggle is real when you go to Europe, I tell you. And then because Bali, you can buy stuff. You
In
can't buy
Bali, you
stuff.
don't need much.
No, that's right.
You can travel light in Bali, not so
When
light.
isn't a sarong in
Not so
Bali?
light in the UK when it's getting in towards winter, hey?
Oh yeah, it was freezing over there. So yeah, I always, say yes and go, okay, now how can I do this? And I'm one that if I commit to something, if I say yes, then it will happen. It's never okay, well, that's a half-hearted thing, and doesn't worry that I haven't achieved that. That's not in my mindset. If I say yes to something, I will do it.
And it's interesting too when you say yes and you are serious about yes and you commit to yes. Again, depending on your belief system here, the universe, God, whatever will open up and will supply exactly what you need. You said when you said yes to Bali, the next question was, okay, now I've got to work out how to afford it. And how many people say, well, I don't have enough money for this, or I can't, I just don't have enough. I wish I had more money. Well, the second you say yes to something that requires money, you'll work out how to make it.
Yeah, that's right. And it was like, okay, well, what am I spending money on that is, not purposeful? And, what am I wasting money on for a start? And it was a matter of just looking at my budget and going, oh, well, okay, well, I'll stop doing that, and that at the moment, short-term sacrifice for a longer-term gain. And that's what happened with it. And it was the same with Ireland. Ireland was a little bit more expensive than Bali. Yeah, double. But I got there in the end, and in the middle of all of this as well, my daughter got married and I paid for a wedding.
Okay, well, there you go. Just
because
another
that was in
adding to that.
October. Yeah.
So, Justine,
Andrew,
obviously, as you know, the people watching this are aspiring authors, are authors, are trying to get published, are published, or they're trying to write a book. They go, based on your last 4 months and the retreats you've been to, the things you've learned, the things you've heard, the book you've published, the awards you've won, what's been the one thing that you've learned over the last 4 months that you now own as part of who you are moving forward, and that you think would help people watching and listening to this?
so I don't want to pinch someone else's catchphrase, but I'm going to pinch Nike's. Just do it. Just do it. Get out of bed and just do it. Mel Robbins' 5-second rule has been pivotal for me over the last 12, 18 months.
Tell us about that.
So, when you drop a piece of food on the ground and it's like within 5 seconds, you pick it up and you eat it because no germs.
I'm a master at that, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. So when you have an idea, when you think of something new, what do you do with that idea? Do you say to yourself, oh, I'll remember that? You won't. So I action it within 5 seconds. I write it down. I either write it in the notes section on my phone, or I've always got a notepad when I'm working at home in my planner, and I write it in there. And I've actioned it. So it's written down. And then I go back over and I read these things. I no longer set the alarm and then hit snooze and then roll back over. All right. You're better off setting the alarm 5 minutes later to start with.
I'm with you on that. I get out of bed, and if I wake up even a minute or 5 minutes before my alarm, I'll just get up and I think, well, I might as well get up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as hard as it is to get up, as hard as it is to make a phone call, as hard as it is to, get started on something, as soon as you do, you go, oh, that wasn't that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't procrastinate as such. If I have a task to do and I don't want to do it, I do that first, because we spend far too long procrastinating on something that we don't want to do, and that is far longer than what that short task would have ever been. So that's been a game changer for me, living in that mind space.
Yeah, that's a great mindset. And
And I keep my mindset on point as well. I see a counsellor regularly, and I have done so every 2 to 3 weeks for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
11
It's
years.
so interesting, isn't it? And that's that's a whole other topic, which we have spoken about on a podcast, haven't we, about asking for help and getting support. So people need to listen to that podcast. I can't remember which one it was.
No, neither can I.
It was a couple of months
We've done
ago.
a few.
We've done a few. It was a couple of months ago. But the procrastination piece is an interesting one, because often the things we procrastinate on are the things that are most valuable in our life.
That's
the things
right.
that we most need to do are the things
because there'll be fear. You'll have a fear of success or a fear of failure. And when you're writing a book, all right, you've got everything going through your mind. And especially when you're doing like a memoir or something that's very personal, because you're putting your soul out to the world in this. You're putting your secrets out to the world. And in my case, like I've been writing a memoir for a while now, and I had a block on it and I couldn't work out why. I just couldn't write. And then something happened in Ireland. So
in Ireland.
Well,
is it one of those things where what happens in Ireland stays in Ireland, or
no, what happens in the castle stays in the castle? No. If you looked at all my live streams, there was nothing secret in the castle. No, we were at a place called the Workhouse, and now I apologize for the way that I'll pronounce this little village.
Sure, to be sure.
Enniskillen, I think, somewhere around.
Enniskillen.
Yeah, so it's in Northern Ireland, and we were there, and Karen was doing her talk, and she mentioned about when she first started writing and what her block was, and that was shame. And that hit me like someone had just tipped icy water over me or slapped me across the face. It's like, that's it. I've been ashamed of, some of the things that I've done in my past in survival, that writing about it and sharing that to the world was blocking me. So we had a couple of Guinness and gin, like the gins at the pub at lunchtime, way too many, and a bit of a jig as well, because they had live music there for us, because there was about 20 of us on this retreat, and we'd taken the little minibus in, and I was very tiddly and emotional as well, because it was such a huge revelation to me I just want to get back and write. I wanted to get back to the castle and really write. And I did. I went back, and Karen said, oh, there's no time like writing when you're drunk. And I'm like, right, I'm into it. And I did. And I poured out a couple of thousand words. And it was like this thing had just lifted off me. And I wrote about being shamed and vulnerability. And, I've watched Brene Brown's shame and vulnerability talks and would say, oh yeah, I'm not ashamed about anything, but I was.
Yeah.
And I say was because now I've started to write about it and realize why I'd done the actions that I'd done in the past, and knew that it was through a trauma base and survival base as well. And I'm like, other people need to hear this, because how many other people are sitting there feeling ashamed on things that they've done in their past?
Everyone, every single person on the planet.
Yeah, that's right. So that was worth going to Ireland for. Because I don't know when that breakthrough would have happened.
Imagine if you said no to Ireland and you didn't go and you didn't get that breakthrough. And I think seems like this is the key message of this conversation, is that when you say yes and you do something that may not seem logical at the time you made the decision to say yes, right? Off go to Ireland. How am I going to do that?
Well, you know what I'm like, because I'm always saying to you, well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And, my team here are the same. I'm like, right, well, I'm going back to England in May. And they're like, what? You've just been? I went, I know, but I'm on a mission to do that. And that's happening. And it's like, okay, again, we'll work out how, and we'll put it into my schedule. And I'm now on a timeline for my book. I've got the title, I've got the front cover. That made a huge difference as well. That's happened in the last 4 months, is actually now visualizing and knowing and seeing it and living it and going, okay, this is going to be a New York best time seller, not just an Amazon bestseller, but, you know, get awards for it and help more people in the process with doing it, because I'm all about helping others through my story, and my story is someone else's survival guide.
Yep.
In this, and in the castle, because we would have quiet zones, and the library, this beautiful library, every wall was just full of old, and I mean old books. And just to sit in that space and look out at the deers running past the window, my fingers could not move fast enough. And because I've got, you know, nails, and all you could hear was, you know, click, 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 click. And the others in the room made comment later about how fast I was actually typing. I'm like, I know, I couldn't get them to move any faster.
You're on a mission. Your fingers couldn't keep up with your thinking.
Yeah, and that's right. It's like it needs to come out on the paper and that from it. So yeah, it was a magical trip.
So, that's good.
And not to mention all the people that I met.
No, you did. Anyway, look, you know, this has been a really cool, short, little, wonderful conversation. And I think the message has...
And I did say one thing. I had a dream before I went that I was going to meet Fergie, and I was going to give her my books, that I was going to present her with my children's book and Whispers of Resilience. And that happened.
Tell us what happened with Fergie.
So she walked in the castle, and I happened to be standing there, and she came straight up to me, and I started chatting to her, and I said, I'd like to give you this book, and I'd be honored if you read it on your YouTube channel. So we'll wait and see if she reads it on her YouTube channel. But it was a surreal moment as well. You know, that week I met, well, she's now Duchess, former princess, the Earl, Countess, and I ran into the President of France. So
you have met the royalty in Europe.
Yeah, so it was
amazing.
It was an amazing trip. When you say yes.
You've got to say yes. All right, so everyone listening to this, when you're doubting, when you're not sure, just say yes. Trust me, the answers will unfold. The opportunities will arise. And when you've asked the question and you follow through, the answer is there waiting for you. The epiphany is there waiting for you, but you've got to say yes. Justine, awesome chatting. Now, just so if people want to, you know, follow you, find out more about you, tell us the simplest way for them to find you.
The simplest way is to go to Linktree and put in Justine Martin Corporation, and you will find my 4 websites, Instagram, Facebook, the 10 platforms, or just put in Google Justine Martin Geelong, and you'll find me through there.
Awesome.
Or through you, Andrew.
Or through me. Absolutely. You can reach out to me. Anyway, Justine, thank you. Wonderful chat. Good on you. You're a superstar. Keep saying yes, and look forward to see what else you create moving forward.
Look out in the next 12 months.